program. You can check them out here on Ironic Radio Network. 8-Bit Bros. That's number 8. Then bit. Then bros. One word. I strongly encourage you to stay tuned for that. And if you want, they also have a Facebook page and a much better live show. Anyway, 8-Bit Bros, 8 p.m. Ironic Radio Network.
It's 8 o'clock, and you know what that means.
Oh, what up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Bros. It is Taco Tuesday, or the early edition, however you really want to go with it. We have a great show planned for you this evening. This is not a kid-friendly show. Adult language, adult content. Do the right thing, people. Put your kids in the closet.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things that I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, how do you like that, buddy? How's that feel?
Oh, God.
How's that feel?
I'm listening to 8-Bit Bros.
Yeah, like Ren said, early edition, Tuesday, January 12th. I only do that, so looking back on prior episodes, I know what the fuck day it was. Center box gets a square.
What up, people?
To the left, me, web boy, you know it by now. To the right, 846 miles south. The one and only Thumpin' Loud. It's that way, but Top Box here with us tonight, as always on Tuesday early show. J7's in the house. Maybe she's not. She was. She's there. She's muted.
I muted my mic because I didn't want to. I didn't want to do what I did last week. And
hey, shit happens. I mean. Face when I couldn't help myself but to say it's 8 o'clock, and you know what that means. And he was like shaking his head. But you know what? I miss saying it.
Yeah, well, the main reason being that I know why he did it was because I was like, nobody said nothing until Ren says something, and he knew he had a part where he could speak before Ren said something.
He couldn't yell at me for it.
It was like, this motherfucker.
You ain't censoring me, bitch.
I ain't trying to either. Not my job. Not my fucking job.
Well, to censor your free speech.
Right. Here we are on Tuesday, again, January 12th. And the topic I definitely want to discuss, we tried to touch on it once before, not too long ago, a handful, dozen episodes ago, and I think it's becoming more prevalent now, is this so-called censorship in America and what we're being faced with right now. There's a lot of debate on whether or not big tech companies have the power to do it and whether they don't.
Have the power to do it.
Should they or shouldn't they? Can they legally and blah, 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 blah. So I thought tonight would be a good opportunity to try and have a conversation.
All right, let's get the simple. Let's get the simple part. Let's get the simple part out of the way.
Yeah.
Do you believe they have the right to do it?
Yeah, legally they have the right to do it. That's really not up for debate. Like constitutionally, they have the right to do it.
Not constitutionally, legally.
Yeah,
legally they do.
Yeah.
Legally they have the legally they have the right to do it because they're all private entities.
There's an argument on whether or not they have the right to in the United States because that's where the battleground is drawn right now.
Right. We don't even know how the EU or anybody else.
Well, the Constitution guarantees you freedom from censorship from the government. Twitter, Facebook, they're not the government.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
private entities.
Exactly, and that's what I was
So,
saying. That was one
Well,
of my previous arguments about it is they're corporations, and we do have a certain level of moderation in corporations as far as what allowances people do and do not have within the rights of their businesses.
right.
I would like to chime in here and first read the First Amendment, at least the part that is pertaining to what we're talking about. Okay, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridge the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment is not you can or can't speak up against the government. The First Amendment protects freedom of speech. Now, I know this is a hotbed debate in courts of law all around the country for 150 fucking years. It's a law, therefore, it is subject to interpretation as brought upon in a court of law. Okay? That's an important phrase right there. Two entities can't battle over what's free speech and what's not free speech. It's interpreted in a court of law.
Correct.
It's open to interpretation. All laws are open to interpretation. That's the beauty of democracy, is you get to debate on whether or not that law is even fucking pliable, plausible, legal, whatever word you want to throw to it. It's open for debate.
So, all right. Currently, we all agree that legally Twitter and Facebook and any other platform that allows you to speak on their platform has a certain amount of governable right over what you say on their platform.
I think we all agree. I will give you the devil's advocate, but I will let you finish.
Well, no, I just want to. That's like we're going to set the precedence of the conversation around the facts that are the way it is currently.
Now, the question is are they a private company?
They are.
How so? They trade publicly around the world, and everybody in the world can own a piece of that company. So how does private?
Are they okay? So if you're a stakeholder, the CEO of the company has a responsibility to you to run the company in a way that honors your investment. That doesn't mean that the public owns the company or that they're government run.
Right. I totally understand that. And,
yeah.
You know, I'm just throwing it out there. There's a lot of people out there and go, well, you know, it's a public company. Anybody can own them. Everybody owns them. And
I just bought $5 worth of Twitter stock. That means I can do whatever I want.
It means they have to listen to my vote.
I mean, I would have waited a couple of more days before you bought it. But $5, what difference does it make? Because you're going to take that $5 through your FinTech, Robinhood, Walmart stock or company and keep it for fucking the rest of your life. You know, look at the guy who was buying, what was it, Zoom? He was buying Zoom? Yeah, he's been buying Zoom for 2 years. Started when it was like $4 a share, $3 a share, some shit like that. Has bought it all the way up to the pandemic. Yesterday retired at 39 years old.
Congratulations.
Wow. That's good for him. Very nice. Nicely done.
If everybody out there who really didn't need a stimulus check to live off of would have just taken that check and bought Zoom stock at the beginning of the pandemic, when you got your check, you could have sold it at the end of the year for $55,000. 55 grand.
That'd have been a nice annual investment there, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, you would have paid through the nose. You would have paid like 28 to 32% short-term cap gains on that.
Oh yes.
But what you held it to now, you wouldn't have made as much. And the stock 90 88 or something shit like that. And if you sold by the end of the year, it was, I don't know, 5 and change. I don't remember what I sold it at, but the point here is we got off track on that, but Twitter, yes, it's a private company. You signed a EULA
Mm-hmm.
user
End
agreement.
user agreement.
That's right, which nobody reads, which don't matter because you should read one at some point.
Oh yeah.
Say you read one to see what's really in there, but it's in there. You can't promote hate and death and torture and attack people. I mean, I know people. I got a friend who just got thrown off Twitter for calling someone else, not Twitter, Facebook, for calling someone else a bitch. You're a
Wow.
bitch. Boom, can't bound. 30 days, ban hammer. 30 days, ban hammer for calling someone a bitch.
Well,
Hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
They've gotten a lot more stringent in recent years. It
Yeah.
used to be you could get away with a whole lot more on Facebook specifically. And people, I have been asking this question, I feel like for a while. I feel like a couple of years ago, everybody was complaining because Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, all these social media websites, people were like, well, you're not doing enough to police pornography. You're not doing enough to police harassment. You're
thank you,
not doing
Twitter.
enough to police hate speech. You're not doing enough to police fake news. And now they've taken steps
Right.
and the conversation has become, wait, are you even allowed to do that? It's like, well, that's what you fucking asked for.
Yes,
Like,
you asked our business model to
yeah.
moderate around this platform this way. So yes, this is what we're doing.
And
Yeah.
this is one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to have, at least start this conversation tonight and see when it's either revisited or continued. I mean, an hour and a half to have this conversation is very, very little time to delve deep into some of the real issues. But, like you say, you're talking about the policing of now hate speech could be me telling you on Facebook or Twitter or Gab or WeMe or whatever fucking social platform it is, go fuck yourself. That can now be considered hate speech, where before that hate speech was racial undertones, epithets, calling someone a Nazi, calling them a Jew.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's very
but
sensitive
yeah,
now.
right. Like I
Yeah.
said, I know someone who just got thrown off, not thrown off, ban hammer, 30 days
Mhm.
for calling someone else a bitch. A bitch. Now, I don't know how to put this, but Thump, we have a friend. You know what? I'm going to put it the way it's put on this show. One of the OGs of Angry Dandelion just got the ban hammer on Twitter too.
Yeah, I know. I saw the conversation.
Yeah, and what did he say? What did he say? Really wasn't anything now, was it?
I mean,
I don't think it was. I don't,
I
I don't,
don't
I don't,
I don't
he didn't.
necessarily think it was, but I also
You don't. You don't have the
I
right.
don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion about that very specific incident.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand that. Should the president have been banned from Twitter for what Twitter cited him of?
Yeah. You know what's interesting? What's interesting is that for the longest time, I know a couple of people who created spoof accounts where
Yeah.
all they did was copy and paste things that Donald Trump said,
Yeah.
with the purpose being if I were a regular person, I
Said
would have been banned a
right.
long time ago for saying some of the things that he says. And Twitter, they came out and said a number of times, in the interest of public awareness and the public good, we're going to leave this up and we're not going to ban it. But I know plenty of people who ran the experiment. They copied and pasted things that he said over
Right.
a month, over a month and a half, over 3 months. They all got banned over things that he said. So they have the right. I think they were right given the circumstances, but I still feel like there's an element of, I guess, big brotherism at play there, where Twitter gets to be the arbiter of when exactly that point like comes. Like,
Is it them? I mean, in this instance, it's them.
Well, them or public opinion
Well, look, in
finally
this instance,
hitting a point to where it was almost a demand by the people to do that.
the two look, first off, and this is flat out truth, the two tweets that Twitter used to throw the president off of Twitter in no way, shape, or form could have or would have incited more violence. End of
Right.
story.
Okay.
If you believe otherwise, you don't know what the two tweets are.
right.
Obviously don't know English.
Yes.
I mean, he said he wasn't going to the inauguration. For everybody asking, I'm not going. That would definitely cause a riot in my town. I'm not sure. His other tweet was thanking his supporters and assuring them that their voices have been heard and will be heard for a long time.
Yes.
If cheering and clapping is a riot, then there's a lot of states that'd be rioting, especially the ones that support Trump. Those two were not riot incitable. I'm sorry. That's bullshit.
Well, okay, so let's back up for a second.
Go ahead.
When they said that those were the two tweets that they used to ban him,
Yeah.
they cited those two in conjunction with the other stuff he had tweeted. If you remember, after the whole thing happened last week, they banned him for 12 hours
12 hours
and
and
said,
12 hours from the point where he removed the tweets that they thought were offensive.
right. And
Which-
then they said, if anything else happens where you reference this or where anything else you say in connection to this could maybe incite more unrest, we're going to ban you permanently.
Yeah.
And then the two tweets came, and then they banned him. So it
Right.
wasn't the two tweets in isolation, because
No,
in
no, no.
isolation, they're
Yes.
not really, you're right, they're not super like offensive. But when you
No.
consider them in context and when you
I mean,
consider
one
the
of them
warning that
does-
he received,
if that's based on the warning that he was given, that
Yeah.
that second tweet in itself definitely is a reference to events that had just taken place, which could be misconstrued by the public opinion to be that other stuff. So yes, it is a vulnerable statement, and
Okay.
it would go directly in conjunction with the hey, don't even fucking talk about it, okay?
right.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with that because I can. I
yeah,
agree.
no, if that's the way it was stated, if all of that whole like he
Yeah,
was
that's-
warned and everything, and this is how they put it, then yes,
Yeah.
at least the second tweet definitely can tie in there close enough to be like, okay, we told you, don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the outcome of all this and the fallout from it is warranted? I'm not talking the impeachment or the 25th Amendment. I'm taking this from the personal standpoint, or not personal, from the person, the American, the citizen. What's going on? Trump's never going to be able to do business. Is that right? That they are now destroying the livelihood of the man?
I feel like his wounds are self-inflicted.
Okay.
Literally. I think we said this last time when we talked about what was happening before. Like, I think the last time I was here was Tuesday. And I think the last kind of mini conversation we had was like, all he needs to do is shut his mouth.
Get the fuck up, right?
Literally, you have 2-3 weeks left in office. Dude, just chill out.
Yeah. Right.
Just-
Shut the fuck up.
Just go golf.
Well, like I said, look, I thought he should have stepped the fuck down. Step down. concede, whatever. Step the fuck down. Let Pence take over. Let Pence pardon you, and move on. And I even put it on Facebook. Don't go to Florida. You can't go to Mar-a-Lago. You signed documents that said you would never live there, so you can't go there. You can't. You can't come to New York because Cuomo basically has New York ready to kill you.
Did you hear that they're apparently? I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Did you hear that they're looking at like rescinding all contracts with him in New York City? Like I know that he runs his company essentially runs the Central Park rink and the golf course.
Yeah.
Basically, they're looking at whether they want to terminate all those contracts with him.
Now, I want you to know this. I want everybody to know this. Trump does not run any one of his businesses. That was
correct.
Currently.
That was part of current. Well, that was right. He signed them over.
Right.
Well,
As per getting the office of president, there were
he had no choice.
there were things that had to be done in order for him to do that. Yes, correct.
J7. Okay, so I wanted to get that out of the way because J7 said the severing of ties, and that's exactly one of the things that I just brought up here. Is what they're doing to Trump, the name Trump, even right. Univision will not broadcast the Miss America pageant.
I mean,
yeah.
These businesses, if they feel strongly about what they've just been through with his presidency, have a right to not do business with him anymore. They do. They have the right to do that. If the businesses feel that way after what they feel like their 4 years were, then they have the right to do that because they're businesses.
Well, the PGA pulled the U.S. Open out of Bedminster. Not only does that affect Trump, that affects the entire, not just the state, but it affects all of those small businesses that were like,
economy.
Here's my chance to get back from COVID and actually maybe save my 2021. PGA's like, no.
That's right. Affect the economy. That's the economy we're talking about. And the all PGA tournaments, Thursday through Sunday is a tournament. At golf courses, bring in $2 to $5 million minimum, depending on what's held.
Hey Webb, what if Zuckerberg just decides to shut down Instagram and tell you that like if you want to post stuff, it's got to be on Facebook, but it's got to meet those rules and that recognition now instead. We're not going to run the other one. Imagine the influencers that just do Instagram campaigns. I mean, an economy there that if they decide to shut the doors on the business, then that's the end of a lot of people's work instantly, right?
Yeah.
So same scenario. This could all hinge on the fact that Trump didn't shut up, and these businesses have the right to make these decisions, and unfortunately, some of these will catastrophically affect areas, but guess what? Other areas will benefit from a relocation of goods and services. Like it's unfortunate, and it all hinges around. At this point, we can say one person's unwillingness to shut up.
Yeah, I guess we can. Yeah, I mean,
the businesses have the right to do business with who they see fit. We've all agreed that that's a business's right.
Yeah.
And this is an unfortunate situation that because a person was president, it is very public the amount of damage that could be done by one person going, I don't want to do business with you anymore.
I get it. I just, there are so many people. Look, 3 countries aren't going to send people to the Miss Universe pageant. And I know it's a pageant, and Miss America, Miss Universe, and people watch that shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got a big economy around it. Well, no, it does have a big economy around it, and there is definitely a large section of societies globally that are invested into it heavily, or the pageant wouldn't exist.
Right. You know.
Okay, sure. It's like an outdated concept anyway, but
yes.
All right.
Yes.
It follows traditions and everything else, and it's been going on.
Is it too big to fail? Is the question that we have right now? Are we saying that we should save Miss Universe pageant?
I know.
No.
I mean, okay, because essentially that's what we're looking at, though. This is just another business that it's reached its life cycle, and yeah, it's supported a lot of things along the way, but unfortunately, this may just be its time to go, and this could be the nail in the coffin for the business as it stands.
Televista, who sends, I don't know, they had something to do with Mexico, and they send fucking representatives from Mexico to the Miss USA pageant, all this other shit. They pulled out of the Miss Universe, won't be sending this. They wanted the other countries because of the derogatory remarks that President Trump said, demonstrous understanding or respect towards Mexican immigrants,
I mean, Bill
migrants.
Belichick said he's not going to take the Medal of Freedom, so
And that Trump has offended the entire Mexican population. NBC immediately jumped in on the back of that and said, "Yeah, what they said, and we're done with you too. We won't even broadcast."
oh, it's cancel culture on fucking fleek, dude. It's so noticeable. One, because it's the president.
Yeah, I mean Macy's pulled out. I mean NASCAR. NASCAR hasn't made anything yet, but
But if it was Elon Musk or Bezos or one of them that said or did these things, I mean, they
Yeah.
get canceled just the same.
Look, I know NASCAR won't come out and say anything, but I guarantee you, $1,000 bet NASCAR does not hold their end of year ceremonies on any Trump property,
Yeah, no, they won't.
Oh no.
and have in the past quite a few times.
Yes.
Not just once, I'm talking about. It's been quite a few times.
Right.
If you're a NASCAR fan, you'll know that. So they're out. CERTA out. They want nothing to do with Trump and ESPN. Gonzo. No celebrity golf. Nothing. Gonzo. PGA. Gonzo. PVH. Gonzo. They manufacture Trump's clothing line. So Trump kids, because Trump don't run any of his businesses. His kids do. Yeah, no. They can't sell clothing in Macy's anymore. It goes banks.
I mean, this
Fed Aviation Administration.
How about Stripe
this
not
is
taking
the
anything,
caliber.
any transactions? The most major online payment processor has said no to anything that is related to Trump.
And Shopify and PayPal, but not him.
But Stripe is the one who processes the payment, not even the
Right.
storefronts.
Yeah. You can't go to shop.donaldtrump.com. That
It was
website's
a weird domino that Twitter tipped over the first one on. As soon as they banned him and everybody saw, wait, you can do that? You can cancel Donald Trump? That's what fucking happened.
Yeah.
They saw it and they were like, wait, you can do that? Legitimately? Okay. Boom.
Look,
and the
there's
hammer
Yeah.
has fell across his whole platform.
there's a lot of things that need to be looked at here, and it's not just Trump. The last two high-profile people thrown off of Twitter
Like
are
Alex Jones and
Jones, right, and Mishuwaki Muki Haki. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Those are all very right-wing people.
so are we just saying that this is only a trend that they do that? So no left wing people
I'm not
have
saying
been
that.
have been
I'm just
banned for hate
gonna-
speech.
I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to lay the data in front of you. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. You make your own decision.
Well, okay. I see what you mean. And I somewhat agree. I agree that more often than not, people who brand themselves as conservative tend to be on the receiving end of these like deplatforming efforts. But and I've thought about this because if I just let kind of my own opinions guide the situation, I'm like, fine, whatever. You're a trash person anyway. Who the fuck cares whether you get thrown off Twitter? You know?
Yeah.
But the truth is, what happens if somewhere along the way, Twitter decides that, I don't know, video games are hate speech? Or, I don't know, maybe 3 dudes and a girl talking about random stuff is hate speech.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like we as a society need to really look at the power and the responsibility that we're laying
This
at
was
these
the
companies'
warning.
feet.
This was the warning I gave at the beginning of the pandemic when I said how much I liked Twitter for being the fucking wild wild west. And the fact that you could still go on there, see a dick, see a pussy, see a fucking whatever doing whatever to anybody, full on hardcore sex, and the most raunchy whatever. Like the conversations on there were reckless and fucking carefree, and I was like, that is a beautiful thing that people are allowed to be able to just do that.
Right. But it's entirely at their discretion. And, so far, their judgment seems like they have rationale, for why they chose to do these things. And they,
Don't worry.
not Twitter, I'm not including Twitch in this because
Right.
they're not.
Don't-
But Twitter and Facebook and the major social media platforms tend to be
Twitch
pretty
is Amazon
transparent.
now, so they
Yeah.
True.
technically meet
Yeah,
the
so it-
criteria of a
Uh,
very heavy ban hammer that they have on their disposal too, as far as the styling of platform that they allow. I mean, they
I-
did
I-
just
yeah,
ban a
but
Chri-
Twitch.
they did just ban a Christian spokesperson for yelling at a Muslim kid that he'd go to hell.
I want to bring a voice in here. I got to acknowledge him, at least the, I don't want to say elephant in the room. He might get mad at me for that one. But Jim Andrinos is in the house, and I know he read.
Jim.
I know he read the post.
Hello.
It's, all right, I'm going to sandbag this and see how far it goes before I need to pick up that fucking phone and call in.
Jim,
Oh,
I
do
haven't
listen
talked
to you guys
to
every
you.
show. I know it's been forever, guys. How are you? First of all, happy
I'm-
New Year.
Happy New Year. I missed you. How are you?
I am so fucking good since the 6th. I am happy as anyone. I am having a daily party.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
you know,
demand props and respect.
I've been rolling up a newspaper every once in a while and smacking Tony on the internet, but other than that, I've been good.
No, it's good though, Jim. I told you. Look, I respect your opinions. You know that. I said the same thing to
Yeah.
someone else tonight. Everybody's entitled to it. I don't have to agree with it, but that doesn't mean I need to silence you. That's wrong.
No,
That's very fucking
but
wrong.
here's the whole thing. We run a business. You
Yes.
guys run a business. I run a business. You guys are on my platform, as well as being on your own platform. And if you guys called for insurrection, you'd be off the platform.
Exactly.
And it's the simple matter of it is there are terms of service that you
Agreed.
agree to when you open a Twitter account, and you make an app, as you guys know, because you guys were designing an app for me. When you make an app and you want to put it on, an Amazon web
Right.
farm,
Any platform. Yeah.
Mhm.
have to agree to their terms of service, and they violated, and they were warned, and they violated. So
Yep.
everyone is screaming it's a free speech issue. First of all, no, read the amendment. That's not what it says at all. But second of all, just understand you can't have it both ways. You can't scream that businesses need to be free to do, what they want to do, and then scream, oh, they're silencing us.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yes.
don't work that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
Like I said, look, I don't disagree, and I can take this conversation from both sides. I can give my opinions. I can play the devil's advocate in both ways. But I don't agree with a lot of what people are thinking out there. Twitter, private company.
Yep.
Jim said flat out, like we all agreed to. You got that fucking EULA, okay? And you either had to like just hit next or scroll all the way to the bottom before the next button actually lit up for you to fucking click it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could have made
Here's
a
the
couple
bottom
of
line.
scrolls and read a paragraph. You could have made a couple of scrolls and read a paragraph, but you didn't. And so go ahead, Jim.
So
Sorry.
we all have our own morality and our own value system. Very few of us are willing to inconvenience ourselves for it. So we scroll down, we click that box, and we think there'll never be repercussions. And then when they bite us in the ass, we go,
Mhm.
that fucking hurt. I have a huge problem with any union donating to any political candidate, even if they donate to the ones I like. If I belong to a union and you gave money to Biden, no, that's not your job. That's my job as a citizen to decide where my stuff goes. So
That's
every
lobbying.
time I've had the chance to join an arts union, I refused. You know, and I go through the exemption process, and I say, no, I don't want to be a member. I'll abide by the rules. I'll do all the other things that you must do and a must join to not join.
Right.
But I'm not going to join because I'm morally opposed to this. And I pay a price for that. They don't collect my residuals. I have to hunt down my own residuals.
Right. Yeah.
And the union won't do that for me. Even though they still take the percentage because I agreed to that because of the arcane laws that you have to do in order to get around a must join.
Wait, what? Dude, just you're just paying them money for like no reason?
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate thing, but I sat there and I went, is my principal worth, the 1.5% with no service? To me, it is.
Yeah.
To me, it's worth it. So, so when the union says, hey, you got to go do this, they're like, I ain't got to do shit. I ain't a member. Because I stood the ground and I paid the price, and Parler, the owner of Parler was on Fox saying, they're effectively putting me out of business. Well, how to get around that? Find a bigger investor and start your own web forms. If you really think that's safe,
the cost involved.
Start your own web forms.
But the cost involved in that. I dealt.
Oh, yeah.
I dealt with that a good 10 years ago, running a major college football bowl site. Actually, 3 of them at the exact same time. And the company I worked for tried to do it out of their own facility so that there was no cloud computing then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $1 million for a month for a small little So
but here's what I'm going to say to you. You're claiming that there's 100 million Americans that believe what you believe. That's the number they keep floating around. 100 million of us.
Yeah, I know that. I don't believe that, but yes.
You got the money to do it. You got the money. If there's truly 100 million, you have the money to do it. Here's the problem. There's not 100 million. In terms of radicalized, there's probably 3 to 5 million, which is way too fucking much.
Yeah,
as you and I both know, in the financial industry, when we're talking about setting up your own, your own web distribution farm, 3 to 5 million is not nearly enough.
No, I told years ago, I had some guy offer me $250,000 to build him the next MySpace. Okay, I should have taken his money, but I told him flat out, no, I don't want it. There's this thing called Facebook that's going to blow up any fucking day. You can't compete with it, and no one will ever compete with it. And maybe no one was a strong word to use, but everybody uses Facebook.
But the bottom line is, there are some people that don't want to use Facebook, so they use something else. There are some people that don't want to use Instagram, so maybe they go to Snapchat or they go to someplace else. There are alternatives. They are not as popular, but they still have their terms of service.
That's right.
Right.
And people forget that Trump's being banned from everything, including Pinterest and Pornhub. How the fuck do you get banned from Pinterest and Pornhub?
That means no one can make any more porn videos where the guy's in the suit with orange hair. We've seen a few of those, especially coming out of the Axel Braun library. But so we can't do no more.
I mean, I don't know about Pinterest though. Like, what the hell was Trump putting up on Pinterest anyway? I really have a feeling that Pinterest was just like, yeah, us too.
What about banning? Can't listen to music? Is that what's
It is exactly what I said it was. One person put the ban up, and they were dominoes in to follow in behind it. And they were just like, all right, yeah, fuck it, ban him.
But here's the whole reason, and we're all adults here. We all realize this. If it made them money to support Trump, like it did for 3 years and 11 months, they support Trump.
That's right.
And when it's going to cost the business money, they leave like rats on a sinking ship. But again, I'm going to say, you know, if you play with fire and you can't complain about the burn.
Yeah,
You just can't. You fanned the seeds of insurrection.
Yeah.
I would say what he did was treason. I know, Tony, you don't think it is. You think that he just misspoke, or you think that he's a bit of an asshole and pontificating. I think what he did was treason.
Well,
what we're arguing is degrees.
Yeah, no. I don't disagree with you. It's tough for me to find that because I mean, okay, yeah, look, I'm not gonna. I will admit, or I'm not gonna discredit the fact that this guy talked shit for 6 months. And let's forget about the elections being rigged because that was definitely the wrong fucking words to use. I have my own opinions on the election, and if nobody wants to understand it, then maybe you're computer fucking illiterate. I posted it on Facebook. I am Tony Webboy Legata. Go read my fucking post with the data that I put out there and the screenshots to back it up in hopes that maybe our government will go, oh shit, we didn't think of that because obviously they're not. End of story there. Wins.
I've actually read your post and vehemently disagree with much of it. And I can point to other studies that don't. But here's the one thing I'll say, and the one chess piece that I'll move in this conversation. You had 63 court dates to prove any amount of voter fraud. In those 63 court dates and the 14 recounts that were done, when you talk about the 2 in Wisconsin, the 3 in Georgia, the 3 over in Pennsylvania, when you combine all of that, they found 4 verified instances of voter fraud.
Yeah.
And all 4 of those were voter fraud in Trump's favor. People trying to vote for Trump illegally.
No, and he's absolutely right. Now, I don't believe in the whole voter fraud as in like stuff in the ballots or dead people voting or all that shit. I don't buy that at all. We had this conversation. Does that happen? It happens in every election since 1902, okay? Do I think it was 8 million votes to overturn the popular vote? I don't think any one of us sitting here will agree that that's the case. We had this conversation. We all agree that, maybe a couple hundred dead people slipped through. And what does that mean? Sometimes those people fucking voted and then died. Sometimes those people dead 3 years ago. Some people get a fucking vote to their house and their dog's name and go fill this out. Voter fraud, if that's what you want to consider voter fraud, it happens in every fucking election on every level, including your kid's school. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it enough to
vote?
No. But I think that the cyber hack that they are slowly uncovering, and again, Dominion systems run on fucking solar wind. It's right there. I gave you the screenshot of their login. If you can't sit back and go, whoa, wait a second, we need to definitely take a look at this. And not because Trump didn't win or Biden got in. It's deeper than that. It's the
didn't they
the
do
problem
that?
is that it was
I feel like they
looked
did.
into on 7 separate states.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like it was actually
Nevada
looked
into. Arizona looked into it.
We need to know more.
New York looked into it. Georgia looked into it. Pennsylvania looked into it. And again, what the problem is?
Pennsylvania, I no longer.
Now you're saying, hey, they should look into it. And I just said these 7 states looked into it, including 5 states that were swing states. People said this is the problem. And what you're saying is, well, no, the federal government should look into it.
No,
so,
they need.
But the rules of voting.
Jim, they need to ensure that there was a clean cut put out a fucking document from the FBI, whatever. You need to convince these fucking 39% of the stupid fucking population that thinks this election was rigged. And
I don't think that there's anything at this. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jim. I don't think there's anything at this point that is going to convince people
that it wasn't.
Because there's
governors of every one of those states said there was no fraud.
You got to remember, Philadelphia you can't trust. They denounced their own elections the night of and sent papers to the fucking Senate. I mean, the night of, Well, you were under question for how long? In the night of. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's just being a pussy about the whole situation, and I don't trust Pennsylvania at all.
But Tony, you don't trust
Yes, I
Pennsylvania.
agree.
I'm sorry. You're
I agree.
allowed not to trust anybody. You know,
Yeah. No, I
I literally don't trust left-handed people. But that
You know,
doesn't mean
some
I can
left-
say everything they do is illegal. I need to prove it in a court of law. They had over 60 chances
Well, look.
right up to the Supreme Court.
I know, and I
They're
know.
0 for 60.
Look, I'm not. And again, what I'm going to say is, I first off preface it by saying I don't think there was fraud in our elections. But I do know that in multiple of those lawsuits, evidence was never heard. It was thrown out. What I want to know is what the fuck was that shady motherfucker, Ted Cruz, who I kind of like at certain times, and then I realize he's a piece of shit, and then I kind of like him again because of something he says. What were those 2 stacks of papers on his desk that nobody wanted to pay attention to? I want to know that.
Well,
That I want to.
Again,
I mean, if
I
it
want-
had
I
any
wanna know-
relevance.
Well, allegedly that was the voter fraud evidence. I would have liked
Tony,
to.
I want to know what's in Colonel Sanders' 7 herbs and spices.
You
It
can-
wasn't revealed. But the bottom line is, there were court cases that failed. Everyone said, wait till it goes to the Supreme Court. It did. It failed. Everyone said, they have to recertify the elections. All the lieutenant governors. It failed in over 30 courtrooms where Trump appointed the judges.
No, I agree. I don't disagree. And you pointed those judges in how many different places, Thump? 176 on the federal level, state federal.
Yeah.
So
But
100.
again,
Yeah,
I
and
think
you're
we
right.
said there
I
was 309 total that he appointed
Well,
during his administration, and
yeah,
that's
so
that's-
it said go fuck yourself, and I don't disagree with it. I don't.
but if you want to say you got to prove it,
I,
and you
I
bring
don't
the evidence to court, and you say, why wasn't the evidence accepted? The evidence didn't fit.
Yeah.
Didn't fit the standard of evidence.
Yes.
And when you flat out ask the lawyer that's bringing it to the case, you flat out ask Rudy Giuliani, are you alleging fraud in this lawsuit? And he says no fraud is being alleged. Then
Yeah.
your lawsuit for fraud gets dismissed.
Yeah. Now you want to talk about?
I'm sorry, but
Go ahead.
You had cartoon characters representing you. So
Oh, yeah.
either he's so inept that his legal team is a bunch of cartoon characters, in which case he should be voted out because do you really want that representing the U.S., or there was no fraud. But
Yeah.
to keep moving the goalposts and saying it's got to be proved here, no, now 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 it's got to be proved here, they're never going to be satisfied until they
Right.
storm the Capitol, kill a cop. They hit him with a fire hydrant and then stabbed him with an
Yes.
American flagpole.
That's fucking horrible. I saw that video, and I saw that video up close. I didn't see.
And
I didn't watch what. Or I mean, I
Look-
saw what CNN showed you, but I saw that video from the guy who was right next to it. I saw that cop get dragged down the stairs. Okay, that
Yeah.
was horrible. It was horrible. That was George Floyd level right there, people. It's the same.
if I am in a bank robbery and I'm driving a getaway car, the guy that goes into the bank shoots a teller, and I get convicted of that bank robbery
Yeah.
because I was in the commission of a crime, I'm also now guilty of capital murder. Every one of those people should be charged with capital murder, and they should face the fine for capital murder. And I'm sorry, but it happened on federal ground, which means the death penalty is in play.
That's right.
I honestly believe every one of the insurrectionists should be put to death.
No,
Sorry, my
No.
opinion.
don't be sorry. I'm.
No, I
am-
mean it's the full viable, applicable penalty under the law of what was committed. I mean, and I've definitely heard that as the sternest form, and it's not an unpopular opinion right now amongst a large group of people.
It's interesting.
And I also think
I
Trump is
kind of
guilty on the
waddle down the
Manson
line
level.
of it a little bit. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of people to just wipe out.
Yeah. It's about 360 they're estimating.
You
They
know,
actually-
it's just
actually broke
and
into
just
the
to
Capitol.
think about that on a human level. of just going, "Yep, these people should all die." It's like, I don't know, man.
Well,
I
maybe
don't know if all
maybe
these
if we're
people
having a
should
hard
die.
time getting them all in front of a firing squad, we could use those gallows they erected. Maybe we could do that.
That was fucking horrible too. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. It's just it's wild to sit here and like see it in front of yourself and
Yeah, the death thing. I mean, that's. I mean, I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not sure how I feel about that right now. I mean, the law was what, 20 years in jail, which, if I'm not mistaken, was amended after that was written to be 7 years in jail. Anybody can.
Yeah, and then it went back up to 10 with Trump's monument thing earlier this year.
Right. With Trump went to 10, so the law's still iffy on that. Death
But
by.
if the murder charge comes in,
yeah, now you're talking maybe these people should just be court-martialed so that they can be legally
firing squatted.
Yeah, legally killed. I mean,
they came into there saying that this was a revolution. If you came in saying this is a revolution, that fits the nature of sedition, and if it's the nature of insurrection, which means you are now, by definition, from the U.S. government, an enemy combatant.
Yeah, you're enemy of the state, so you have to be court-martialed because you have U.S. citizenship. So court-martial is the only way to have them death by electrocution, gas, firing squad, fire ants, or feed the Kraken.
Fire ants is a good one. I'd open for that one.
Fire ants, that's original.
Or better yet, the pit.
I'll also go for force lightning.
Yeah, what's the term from? Oh shit, where did Boba Fett fall into? The pit of what?
Acid.
Sarlacc pit.
The Sarlacc pit. So maybe the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, Sarlacc.
Yeah. I mean, that's 1,000 years of death allegedly, but then yet Boba Fett's back.
No, obviously, I'm being,
You know what? You know what?
It's hyperbole when I'm saying they should be all killed, but I'm saying that's what they're guilty of, and that's what these morons did not realize they were doing.
Yeah.
Now, do I think the vast, overwhelming majority of the idiots that stormed the Capitol were just misled? Yeah, because I think there's a real criminal, and that's the guy that stood on the platform an hour before and said, we're going to march down together and take the country back. And that's the other idiot that said, let's do this by force.
That's Rudy Giuliani.
So
He's brought up on fucking charges, and just banning him or taking his license away, banning him from the bar, that's not enough for him. Okay. I have the mixed opinions on Trump. Yeah, he fueled the flames of fire for months with the rhetoric of rigged election, rigged election, rigged election. I read the transcript of his speech. I've read it 5 times now, and I've gone back and watched the video twice after I watched the live stream. Looking at different things, being the artistic guy and not paying attention to what's on the screen, but watching in the background, shit like that. Like I'm sure you do, Jim, in movies all the time. Why did they back there? Fucking dry. I can see it. It drives me crazy. And Giuliani said some shit that, I mean, you said it yourself. We have to fight this with combat. With combat. Even fucking Trump Jr. said some shit. It was like, what are you saying? Your father, he said some shit. I said some shit. And then Trump says, we're going to march to the Capitol. I'm going to march with you, which he never did. He got in his motorcade and went back to the White House. But I'm going to march with you to the Capitol and let our voices be heard and scream. And some people will like it and others won't like it. I mean, for me,
the problem is the phrase "take it back," which he said 3 times in the speech.
I know the take it back. They're going to take it back. I get it. But to me, I mean, you got to pull right out of fucking Princess Bride and have fun storming the castle. You got to say that for me to believe these people.
Come on.
Here's the reason why I believe. Here's the reason why I believe it was fully sedition, because one of the biggest definitions of sedition is aiding, abetting, and providing comfort to enemy combatants.
Yes, yeah, you
and
can't.
His speech at 5 o'clock, where he said, "You're all very special, and we love you."
Yeah, that was wrong.
Is aiding, abetting, and providing comfort to enemy combatants.
Yeah.
So if you want to tell me he's not guilty of ginning him up, I disagree with you. But then he is guilty. He's either guilty of insurrection or he's guilty of sedition.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, I know. It's tough
You don't.
because I agree with you. And then it's like, on the other side, it's like, well, I mean, I get it. The guy was a fucking idiot for the last, I don't know, year and a half easily.
And listening
I
to Kayleigh
mean,
McEnany.
I think he's been an idiot for a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Jason's had these conversations. He did a lot of good things for government and for the economy.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. We disagree.
Well,
We fervently disagree.
I know that. I mean,
The numbers are not on your side.
no, I know that. I'm going to be outnumbered, and that's fine. And that's what.
No, I mean like actual
No.
math is not on your side.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I gave you
Obama grew the stock market by 63%, and before the crash that happened,
Yes.
pre-COVID,
Yes.
Trump
No,
only
it
grew
was
by
me.
44%.
all he did was
Uh,
maintain the growth. That's all he did was maintain the growth. That
and he didn't even maintain it; he slowed it. But I'm also going to point out, and this is, I think a much bigger thing that people are looking at. You've got to understand there needs to be repercussions, not
Yes.
because of we hate Trump and we want him out of office. He's out of office in 10 days, or at this point 8 days. It's to show that this can't happen again in our country. Because if he gets away with a slap on the wrist this time, then the next one is going to go further.
Well,
and that's the problem.
okay, and I'm glad you said that because I did want to ask you a question before it's too late to. Section 25th Amendment or impeachment? Do you agree with either one of them?
I agree with. I actually think they should both be enacted for different reasons. 25th Amendment strips him of power now, which means for the last 8 days he can't do something like try and declare martial law or start a war with the country or do anything, stupid. So 25th Amendment takes that power away from him.
Yes.
But remember, 25th Amendment's also ceremonial. He doesn't lose the title of presidency. He doesn't lose the right to run again.
Right.
Whereas with impeachment, they can impeach him and do a simple majority trial since they're not trying to fire him, which takes 2/3, but they're trying to censure him, which takes a simple majority. And with the censuring, they can prevent him from holding public office again. And I think that's important for that reason.
Okay.
So, I honestly think that the impeachment's a little more important. I don't think if he tried to start a war right now, that any of the military would follow him. Honestly, not with the letter that came out with the Joint Chiefs today.
Yeah, no.
But,
And even when Pelosi went to the Pentagon, he assured them that Trump couldn't do anything and that there were checks and balances in place. He should start a war with Iran, though. Fuck them. They broke that. They broke that nuclear accord. We got to do something about that. And that's a whole different conversation, though.
How about we leave that to the next legitimate president?
For the new president, yeah.
I don't disagree with that, but I think it should be just fucking go over there and drop some bombs on them. Impeach the 25th Amendment. You were part of the conversation. We all thought that was going to happen months ago. You owe me $20. You know that, Jim.
I do know that.
Yeah,
I owe you $20.
Yeah, and $20 is $20. You can pay it off in other ways. I don't believe that he would have been 25th by now, and Pence would have came in. We had the conversation of the 47, 48 presidents, or 49.
But again, I've got 8 days until that happens. There's still a chance, maybe.
And it's not happening, and here's why it's not happening, okay? The 25th Amendment to win because Pence he's not going to. As much as him and Trump are hating each other right now, he's not going to do it.
Actually, he has already come out today, this afternoon, and said that he would not be enacting in any way to remove the president.
And the problem with the impeachment is the Senate. Where are they? They're on vacation.
The Senate has to.
They're on vacation.
And they come back the 19th.
On the 19th, they come back, and Mitch McConnell already said, "Forget it, forget it. You're wasting your."
That's not what. No, that's not what he said. Did you not read today's news? He said he believes that he should be impeached because he understands that impeachment isn't going to be the impeachment that's looking to remove him from office. Because on the 19th, they're not going to say, "Hey, remove him from office." The impeachment is looking to censure him to prevent him from running for public office again.
Yeah, I don't know.
which that'll happen.
And I don't disagree with that at all. I totally agree with that. I had my 4 years. I gave you a shot. You know, I mean,
He'll lose his pension. He'll lose his Secret Service detail.
yeah,
He'll lose his security clearance.
yeah.
And you know that, and he'll lose his right to run again, which is very fair. You know, I think he should be in jail, but again,
That's
if you want to keep the peace and not do that, I honestly think he should more than be in jail. You know, you know, I think he should have been Secret Service. Again,
hey, look, you don't know what Bill Clinton's going to do. You got to remember, you know, you talk to Bill Clinton, you might wind up dead. So you never know. You know, it could take.
I miss those conspiracy theories, Tony.
What, the 29 people who mysteriously committed suicide?
I miss those.
Oh, you love that shit. What I really think.
Can I ask you guys, is Ren alive? I have not heard him in like 20 minutes.
He's sitting back sucking this on, going, these stupid motherfuckers really care.
This is what he does every show. He literally just sits there like, you guys are all stupid.
Say,
I would have thought, hello, stupid. I would have.
Hey, I would have said hello, but you know, everyone jumped right in, and you know, you and Tony had your beginning conversation. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Hello, Red. How are you? I miss you.
I am
guys.
well.
So I do want to say one thing about this, and I'm glad, Jim, you're here to say this from my mouth. History repeats itself, and sometimes that repeat of history is a good thing. What I think is this whole impeachment and 25th Amendment talk needs to die. Trump should have stepped down. That's never going to happen. He's going to finish out his 8 fucking days. Biden is going to get inaugurated, and he should turn straight around and pardon Trump immediately. If you want to read the tale of what that did for our country, go back, look at the history books, and read what happened when fucking Ford pardoned Nixon and the effect it had on the country. It was not a popular.
Right.
It was not a popular opinion. He took shit for it.
Yeah, and it
Did not win.
did not do what you think it did.
Prize 20 years later. It was for the better good of the country, and it helped start the healing process that some people don't see.
It did not help start the healing process. That is a mythology. Look, I like Ford. Ford is, as a lifelong Republican, Ford is literally my favorite president ever. I think he was tremendously underrated. But when Ford pardoned Nixon, it was probably the biggest mistake of his career because he lost the young vote, which lost him the 76 election. It also helped to further the recession because a lot of skilled labor left the country when he pardoned them. People forget that fact that within 3 months of pardoning him, there were over 2,000 high industry jobs, which what they called it back before tech was a term. You know, high industry jobs left the country, and people started working in Europe and whatnot.
Yeah.
The problem is, everyone wants to point to he did it to heal the country. No, what he did was he made a bunch of lowland hillbillies. Sorry, that's what they are.
Okay.
A bunch of lowland hillbillies feel better that, you know, oh, see, my guy wasn't so bad, which is exactly what you're talking about doing here with Biden pardoning, you know, Trump. And it's not going to make it better because everyone wants to point out that there'll be 71 million people that'll feel heard. And it'll bring those 71 million back into the fold. You know what it'll do if you pardon him? It'll take the 80 million of us that knew that he was an asshole for the past 4 years and make us feel like we weren't heard. Make us feel like that cop died in vain. You know.
That is true. And also, I don't think that the 75 million people that voted for him, I don't know what it'll take to get you, well, not you, but these people to realize that they've been scammed. But like, it's gotta come, like, the truth is what it is. Feelings are not facts. Like, I mean, here we are. You know, we've been 4 years.
Fuck your feelings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just so much shit that's going on. I can see where people can get confused or blurred inside the lines. People have their beliefs and opinions. I mean, look, I don't believe he stood up there and incited a riot. I think the people around him did, and I'm not going to say he's
I think you're wrong.
for it because that's not the case. He had done plenty to get to that point. Backing off at that point does not make you innocent. You have
When
guilt.
when you know that you have a ginned up mob that is armed
Yes.
and looking for blood, and you tell them, let's march down there together, you are looking to incite violence,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
And if he was not looking to incite violence, here's the easiest way for him to have done that. Stay the fuck in the White House and issue a press release saying, hey, nobody should interfere with the elections.
Yeah, I know. Not be on the phone with the senators while they're hiding in a fucking room, asking them to.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to go against this vote, right? We need that right now, right? No, I don't give a shit just right now because there's some dudes at the fucking door of the Senate floor. Click. I mean,
I also want to point out that all the people that are saying that Ashley Babbitt should have full military honors at her funeral,
oh no.
if she gets full military honors, there should be another revolution.
Oh yeah,
there really should be.
If she gets full military honors, fucking Trump should be able to keep Air Force One. End of story. Because she is a fucking insurgent. Okay.
Yeah, you were shot in the commission of a crime.
Yep.
You're not a war hero now.
Nope.
You gave that up and turned yourself into a criminal.
Yep. Yep. I don't feel for any of the Capitol Police who are being suspended or fired from their jobs right now. That dude took a fucking selfie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So bananas.
Yeah,
I can't even deal. Like,
live. I watched the live streams of that shit. I know everybody threw a lot of shit on TV, but I watched what was going on the inside as it was happening.
Yeah.
Twitter, Periscope, Facebook. It was everywhere.
I literally, spent the next 2 days defriending anybody that was part of the insurrection.
Unfortunately, I don't know anybody who went.
yo, did you guys hear that the guy the guy with like the crazy head thing and the face painted? Did you guys hear that dude's actually an actor?
An actor of this, sure, yeah.
And like some casting director on Twitter like posted his headshot and was like, if this guy shows up to any auditions, don't hire him. I'm like, what? That actually got to me. I was like, that is hilarious.
He's a QAnon.
But now here's the great thing about America as a society. And guilty of insurrection, arrested for insurrection, fighting extradition to go back to Washington, D.C., doesn't want to leave Phoenix.
Yeah.
Great. I get it. Makes sense. So he got arrested. He's thrown in jail as he's fighting the extradition. Went on a hunger strike because they would not give him organic food.
Yes.
And he says that he needs, and he won. The judge said you have to give the prisoner organic food if that is part of the prisoner's religious beliefs.
Yeah, you can't deny that. I've been in those situations where I've seen people like, I can't eat this, and 3 days.
I spent time in jail. Where the fuck are you getting an organic bologna sandwich?
Oh, I know. Yeah, cheese that don't melt. That's not organic. There's no cow's milk in that shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, criminals have rights too, Jim. This has been a fight. They're giving them the fucking corona shot first. Remember that.
Yep.
So they have rights too. They can get the food that they request, except for coffee because that's a drug. Caffeine's a drug. And Jim knows.
I also love
time there. You get that hickory shit. Go ahead.
I love the bitter irony of the fact that these all guys were all so much easier to catch because they refused to wear masks.
Well, you know,
Yes,
To me,
it's the
I
stupidity.
love that so much. I'm like, damn, if you're gonna go full stupid, I guess you gotta go, you gotta do it. You gotta live your truth, you
I just
know.
I do want to say though that it took storming the castle for the FBI to finally come out and say Antifa's on our watch list now.
yeah, that's
Antifa?
not exactly what they said.
You know,
They
I mean,
said
That's
the
not what
rioters
they
from
said.
the Antifa. They said, and this is the exact quote,
right?
that the people that they caught rioting during the Antifa rallies were on their watch list, which is how they knew about the QAnon guy.
Well, yeah, but on the watch list now, it's the entire fucking group. Period. Like, you know, look, the
No, they're
cake.
not.
No, it's not. So they
What?
said that there are certain people
Certain
who
people.
were part of Antifa who are on their watch list.
Uh,
Not Antifa's on our watch list.
okay. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was. I know they came out and said no evidence of Antifa involvement, and then they arrested 17 of them. So I don't know how you say this.
This is when we need that little bell. They come, the more you know. That needs to come up at this point. Guys, more than anything, I wanted to, I wanted to call and gloat a little bit with Tony, but more than that, I wanted to call and wish you guys a very happy new year. And hopefully at some point we can all get stabbed in the arm so we can all come back into the studio together. That would be nice.
Right?
That
Right.
would be so nice.
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And when that happens, Thump, you got to come up.
Yes!
You can be a survivor.
I could be a survivor. Am I taking it that you're not taking a shot, Thump?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how that's going to help me if I had it.
It should help you with future streams.
How?
what
They
they're
don't
saying.
have future strains.
That is true. But it gives you the.
Well,
Gives you
yeah, it does, because they
Also,
said
you're
that
talking to a guy who
even
hasn't had a flu shot since he was probably 20.
I don't know if I ever had a flu shot. Unless they gave it to
okay,
me.
but you don't know. Wait, if you had it, nobody really knows yet how long you're immune for.
Right.
Yeah.
And this
So
is
getting
going to
the
keep coming around.
vaccine,
This is going to keep coming around, and I'm going to need a flu shot.
you're gonna
Yeah.
need a COVID shot.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but-
what essentially what they're saying is this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a continuous annual inoculation.
Right. CDC already said we'll see corona strains for years to come.
Right.
But okay, not downplaying what's going on. I mean, if you look, if you want to get a shot, go get the fucking shot. Go get it. If you're one of those people
I'm
who,
not saying that there's anything against getting the shot. It's
Right.
just that I want to know the effectiveness and its repercussions on somebody who's been through it. Like, if I've got it, why am I getting a different it? And if I get it again from your shit, what does that do for me? Like, I want to know some of the long-term science on it before I become like the guinea pig of, well, let's see what this does to me. I already have a
What's the
very
worst
high
that could
morphine
happen, Tom?
allergy.
The third
Well, I mean,
subject?
hey, the first time somebody stuck me with a needle that had something I didn't know what it was in it, I died.
yeah, it's true. He's got
That's a good side effect.
sometimes.
That's a good side effect.
I mean, now
Yeah,
he's
'cause
he's got his allergy bracelet tattooed to him. So yeah, I
Yeah, that was
understand.
the first time I went to the hospital, and they were like, "All right, let's take care of this guy's nose." I was dead.
Plus, I kind of agree with Thump. Like he contracted COVID. So, do we know what the effects of getting a shot on someone who's already had COVID? What that does? Does it immediately like give them COVID again? Threefold, kind of like when you get chickenpox the second time, it becomes shingles. I don't,
Yeah,
even,
I think it's
true.
good.
I don't even know if there's data on that yet. And I'm not playing devil's advocate here. I'm saying I don't.
No.
Yeah, those are just my questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are real
All right,
questions
so-
for sure.
if there are any scientists listening to this show, and if there are scientists listening to this show, what the fuck, dude? But
Yeah.
if there are,
I doubt it. But
he
you know,
needs the right answer.
what is the effects of someone getting the virus, the vaccine, who's already had it?
Yeah.
I don't think that data's even been studied yet.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, great question.
Getting it is a good thing. We know that. We saw it. We've heard all the data. We've read it. I know I've read it. And as much as I can understand of it, I've read it. Get the shot.
Although, if you get the two different shots, if you get the Moderna and the Pfizer by accident, if you cross shot, automatically you change your sexual preference. Did you know that?
I know you.
Is that what they said happened in Europe? Because
that's the first sign.
I know if you
Like,
cross
immediately. Yeah, it's kind of like crossing the streams. You don't want to do that.
Ectoplasm all over you. It comes out of nowhere. But you know, there's questions to there. I mean, I was just in a conversation today. Somebody put out there, oh, I heard that if you get the vaccine, it's causing infertility in men and women. And I was like, whoa, time out.
How did they know that?
Jump into this conversation, and immediately it was like, whoa. You need to change the wording of this because you're saying it can, and you don't know that. And here is whoosh, this article, and here's whoosh, that article. And wait, let me make it easier for you and just go to Google and search this, and here's the search results. Go do your own research, but change your fucking wording because you're just another one of those people who are breeding more bullshit.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, and I'm way down the list on when I would be required in my category to get the shot. So
yeah,
something's young.
Well, and he might be going now because he's had it already.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm low on the list.
I'm actually totally okay with the fact that I probably wouldn't be getting it until like September or like.
I think somewhere around there is probably a reasonable time, and hopefully. Then I'll make the decision on whether or not I'm actually going to get it. As of right now, no. But it doesn't matter what I say because I can't get it until, in my opinion, at least October. That's when it's going to become available. I told you, 26,000 criminals in New Jersey, 11,000 homeless people will get the shot before me, a working person paying taxes, feeding into the economy, can get the shot.
Actually, in New York now, anyone 65 and over can get a shot.
Yeah, well, Cuomo needs to back the fuck up from everything he's ever said if he wants to have a job next year. Or next year, right? He's up for election next year.
Not sure.
Yeah. He's got to do anything he can to save face. He killed 14,000 fucking people.
No, he didn't.
He killed.
Stop it. I'm gonna go before I get sucked into that conversation.
Yeah.
Yep, it is that time anyway.
And we gotta close the shop anyway.
So. That time anyway.
Yeah.
What's going on this week? Thursday. What's going on? Show, class.
Yep. Go to comedytherapy.com. There are comedy shows from Wednesday through Sunday. Go listen, laugh. Enjoy yourselves. It's all online, so it's socially distanced and safe. I will talk to everybody soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye, Jim.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Miss you guys.
Peace. Jim Junos in the house. Love Jim. We might not see eye to eye, but I love that man.
Been the 8-Bit Bros.
Yeah, 8-Bit Bros. Tuesday night. We'll see you Thursday. With or without you, J7. With or without you. Anyway. Peace.